Whoa, we watch Star Wars fans. We've got some brand new reports about how the Obi-Wan Kenobi show plans on handling the characters of Leia and Luke Skywalker.
Hello there.
General Temperature.
You are a bold one.
It would appear the Skywalker twins are getting way more screen time in this show than I originally thought they would, and we need to break that down, and I want to talk about why this could be amazing and add to the mythos of all of Star Wars, or it could be bad. There's a real risk-reward thing going on here. Let's break it down. What is up, everybody? It's Josh, and man, it is a beautiful day here in Nerd Ventures Tower. I hope you are doing well wherever you are at. I don't have to tell you this, but the characters of Leia Organa and Luke Skywalker are some of the most important characters in all of Star Wars, and it would appear that their younger versions are now going to have some story beats in a show that's focusing on two of the other most important characters in Star Wars, Obi-Wan Kenobi and Anakin Skywalker. And what's interesting about Luke and Leia is that even though they are very important, we really don't know much about them from their childhood. We've seen a younger Leia in Star Wars Rebels, and we've even briefly seen younger Luke Skywalker in Rebels as well, but we've never actually hung out as an audience with these characters from when they were younger. And with the Obi-Wan Kenobi show taking place 10 years after they are born, it is prime real estate for them being very youthful versions of the character. And I just never really thought that we were really going to explore that at all. I felt like, yeah, they will be in there, but we probably won't see much of them. I remember even back in the day when I first heard about Leia being a big part of the show and perhaps even being the catalyst that would take Obi-Wan off of Tatooine. I was like, wow, that's really cool. Makes a lot of sense, but we likely won't see Leia all that much. I think just the concept of Leia or Leia being in trouble would be enough to get the Obi-Wan Kenobi character to go on a mission. But for whatever reason, I just never thought we'd actually hang out with Leia that much. But boy, was I wrong. Now, before we get into these reports, I have to issue a slight spoiler warning. We're not going to go wildly crazy into the details of what could be going down in the show, but we do need to talk about some recent reports, all put out there by very reliable insiders and scoopers, and I'm also going to fill in some of the gaps here with some speculations. If you don't want to know anything about the show other than the fact that Luke and Leia are gonna be in it, get on out of here now. So let's begin with Leia. Now, yes, we've been talking about Leia being in the show for months and months and months at this point, but late last week, we got some really interesting details about what's going on with that character. There were two big scoops, one from StarWarsNewsNet.com and one from MakingStarWars.com. By the way, both of those sites have a very good reputation for having accurate information. And between those two exclusives, we got a very interesting look at what it's going to be like to visit with this young Leia Organa. Essentially, she gets captured by the Inquisitors, including the Grand Inquisitor. And this is because of Bail, because of her father and the possible connections that he had to Jedi before Order 66. You see, the Inquisitors are trying to hunt for Jedi, and they know that other Jedi out there, including Obi-Wan Kenobi, are unaccounted for, and they capture the young Leia Organa in order to perhaps get Bail to get a Jedi to help him. They even consider the possibility that they could catch a big fish like Obi-Wan Kenobi. And so this is totally going to be a thing. Leia's going to be captured, Kenobi's going to go rescue her, and it's important to note that he's going to be disguised when he finds her. You see, yes, Leia will become aware of the Obi-Wan Kenobi character. That is why she sends that message in A New Hope, but frankly, she can't have a personal connection to him. Otherwise, that message doesn't make a lot of sense. And so they'll disguise Obi-Wan in order to make all of this make more sense and not break canon. That's an important point, and I'm really grateful that they are taking that level of care with the canon. Interestingly, though, in those reports, they talk about how Leia's going to be very sassy, independent, and be basically like a younger version of the girl we end up meeting later on in life as Princess Leia. But the most recent reports of more of what they're going to show with Leia and what they're going to do with Luke Skywalker made me realize, again, holy crap, like they're really going there. They are going to show us these characters and try to develop our relationship with the characters we already know by by seeing more of them when they're younger, and through the lensing of Obi-Wan, we're going to get this really interesting sort of dad vibe going on here, where he's watching over these young folks. In a recent story over on MakingStarWars.net, Jason Ward talks about how challenging Kenobi is going to find watching over the Chosen One's son. Kenobi's going to have flashbacks of his time with Anakin. He's going to be haunted by the failures that he had as a Jedi. And there's this idea of suffering that Obi-Wan's going to be going through, but he feels as though his suffering will be worth it if the Jedi's plan takes effect. And that is, of course, that Luke will become the Chosen One and bring balance to the Force. Now, I'm going to read right from Jason's article here because it's very interesting the way this scene is apparently going to go down in the show. He says here, in one sequence, Owen, Beru, and young Luke Skywalker are away from their moisture farm. The set was very much like Mos Eisley in spirit. They filmed little Luke holding Beru's hand while they looked at trinkets in a market. Owen may be selling a harvest of their water in this sequence. My sources are not sure why he leaves his family. Obi-Wan watches them from afar, their secret protector on this journey. Luke is ultimately safe even though danger has come to Tatooine, and Owen sees it firsthand. Luke is looking at some toys and is denied getting what he wants. He is not a spoiled kid. Luke and Beru continue with their day, and Luke is seemingly just happy to be off the farm for a time. These Luke sequences are said to be intercut with Leia, who has many interesting things in her room on Alderaan, including droids to assist her with whatever she has going on that day. Sometime later in the show, Obi-Wan signals for Owen, and they approach one another in the desert. Owen blames Obi-Wan for making things worse and not really helping. Obi-Wan has what some sources have said to is a T-16 Skyhopper toy, and others have said is a starship toy of some kind. He asks Owen if he can give it to the boy, and Owen says absolutely not. Owen feels this boy's life is in danger because Obi-Wan Kenobi and Obi-Wan is trying to bring him toys, which is the last thing Luke Skywalker needs at that moment. He needs safety, not toys. This scene will mirror the lightsaber Kenobi will one day try to give Luke and also be denied. Dejected, Obi-Wan Kenobi returns to the wilderness more alone than ever. Obi-Wan wants to connect with Luke and he cannot. Owen is not exactly wrong and he knows this. Sources say Leia has a pretty big and obvious role in the series. Luke is more in the periphery. It isn't his time to start adventuring just yet. He cannot see lightsabers or real action. He has to live a secluded life he doesn't understand until A New Hope. Okay, so there's a lot going on in the sequences that Jason describes there, but as far as focusing on the character of Luke, I just find it so damn interesting. Like, he's not going to be a spoiled kid. Uncle Owen is trying to protect him from the legacy of his father, from all of these different things. And that feels like a very real extension of the character we do meet in the original movie. I also absolutely love the idea of Obi-Wan himself feeling all this pain and loss because of his old friend Anakin. And he has this real human desire to form a relationship with Luke, who's an actual blood relative of his old friend and also the mission that he is on to protect. And the fact that that can't happen, and not only that, but it's kind of against the Jedi Code anyways, that's really interesting to me. And I love that idea of seeing that character development with Obi-Wan. But it's the intercutting between the life of young Luke Skywalker and the life of young Leia that I think is really, really the most interesting part to me. Because this shows that the Obi-Wan series is not going to be afraid of going there, of going places in the canon and establishing things that are going to better inform the characters we end up meeting in those films and in the future show. It feels right, it feels meaningful, and it feels like it's gonna give me, well, the feels. I actually am really fond of this idea, and I know I've talked about in the coverage of Kenobi how some of this stuff is just a little bit concerning because, again, they're super bold. They're going right for it with the canon, but hearing Jason talk about how they've taken very special care to not ruin things in the other movies, to not retcon things, and yet explore these characters from a different angle when they were younger, it just feels really magical. If they can pull this off and actually enhance the experience of watching the other Star Wars stuff while creating their own really unique piece of content, man, Kenobi might be something really, really special. Because an understated part of our relationship to Anakin does come from the fact that we see him as a young boy, and we can see elements of his childlike nature even as he grows in front of our eyes. And now we're going to have that with the characters of Luke and Leia, and I frankly think that is awesome. If you are someone that's concerned about this and you're afraid that they're going to ruin it, hey man, I understand you having that feeling. But again, I just wanted to explore the ideas, the reports, and why I'm actually starting to think that they might handle this thing very, very well, enhance the overall canon of Star Wars, and give fans just something that feels very impactful, feels like a love letter to this thing that we all love. Like this video if you liked it, subscribe to this channel to see more of our content pop up in your recommended feed, and check out our live streaming channel. As I always say, I hope you're having an awesome and a nerdy day, and I'll see you in the next video.